To rabbis and all Israel. Wake up. Take the red pill. Resist the Great Reset. I have just about completely lost faith in our rabbinic leadership. I am screaming inside and need to get this out. The pressure has been building. I feel it so strongly, I am compelled by a higher spirit that this is a direct warning that I must share. The latest and maybe last straw in my faith and leadership is regarding the COVID-19 vaccine. The vast majority of rabbis are voicing support for everyone to get it. There are only a few who are against it. The main justification for it halakhically is that we are to sacrifice ourselves in order to save others. This is compared to first responders, firefighters, the military. While this is a noble endeavor, and there is a basis for this concept in the Torah as to why we have certain commandments, it is a choice these people make. Not everyone is mentally or physically up to the task. So just like everything God commands us, it requires our free will. For rabbis to say unequivocally that because they said so, everyone is obligated to do something, takes away our individual free will. When you think about it, it really is no different than the government telling us we must get vaccinated. And coincidentally, this is also the reasoning global leaders and health experts use this same reasoning. You could use this excuse for anything. It initially makes sense for a temporary immediate threat like this mysterious new virus. But this was never the plan to be temporary. It's only the start. Intentions of globalism. The globalist elites intend to exploit this for far more than a virus. What about climate change? Couldn't you make the case to sacrifice more in the name of a healthy planet? Who decides what should be sacrificed? Where does it stop? The sacrifice ends up being our individual freedom. Of every aspect of our lives that is forced upon us. Or else. Including the freedom of worship because the globalists ultimately want to replace God with AI. This is how this is leading us straight into a global communist technocracy. Without our conscious consent. Why should we listen to experts? Ask yourself why we were never compelled or forced to wear masks and social distance for the flu or even the common cold? It begs one to look at the larger question of the phenomenon of unquestionably doing what you are told by rabbis, which turns into unquestionably doing what the experts tell you to do. The rabbis say that you should listen to the experts. But what if not all experts agree? What if the experts that are the most espoused in media and science are corrupt and biased? Who should the rabbis listen to? Why should they listen to them? You must see the bigger picture. Friends, there is a much larger picture than just singular components. From the start of this pandemic, the rabbis only look at each individual issue based on what the sages have said, but we are not dealing with these issues with respect to the broader view of the global impact, global manipulation of truth, the global and political intentions of our own leaders, other countries, or world health and economic leaders. I talked about this in a previous video called How the Coronavirus and Black Lives Matter Antifa Riots Are Connected. The video got few views because YouTube stopped promoting it after only 2 days. Censorship is also part of the plan. Israel is not safe from the Great Reset. That video I mentioned was mostly focused on what's going on in America. I thought and hoped Israel would be safer or saved from this onslaught of tyranny, but it looks like it's not. And that's why I'm sounding the alarm. Netanyahu is part of it. He gave a speech this past October to the World Economic Forum about the Great Reset and how Israel will lead the world with technology into what's being called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Our own health ministry is a corrupt puppet of the World Health Organization and of this Great Reset, and Netanyahu is giving them full reign and approval for lockdown after lockdown, mask mandates, and upcoming restrictions if you are not vaccinated. If he is again made prime minister, Israel will be molded into this new normal model. Look up the list of partners on the World Economic Forum website, and Israeli bank Leumi is listed, as well as all the major globalist players, including all the social media owners, vaccine makers and major Chinese companies. Interestingly, Bahrain, UAE, Turkish and Saudi companies are also listed. This is not a theory. If you've not heard of what the Great Reset is, you only need to go to the World Economic Forum website to find out. They and other world leaders are literally telling us what they want to do. The rabbis don't seem to have a clue about any of this, and that's the problem. If it's not in the Talmud, Zohar, or Shulchan Aruch, it doesn't matter or exist. There is nothing in the Talmud that talks about this. There is no concern of thinking about global political matters. Leave that to the politicians, leave us to study Torah. That was how our sages handled the Roman occupation, but it has not worked out well for you anywhere else. Take the red pill. You all have blinders on. Where are you headed? It reminds me of the movie The Matrix. If you keep on the path you are on, you will end up literally in the Matrix. I'm screaming at you to wake up. Take the red pill. Look up from your Talmud and see the reality of what's really going on. Otherwise, you will live in an illusion. An illusion that the Moshiach is coming, that everything is fine, the illusion that all you need is to study more Torah, do more mitzvahs, go along with everything you are told, and you can be okay, go back to normal and no one will try to kill you. How did that work in Europe? This will never go back to normal. Now, you think that all you need to do is take the vaccine and things will go back to normal. You are wrong. They are lying to you. There will be another virus. It will never go back to normal. Unless you resist the Great Reset. How to do that? Well, for starters, do not decide to get the vaccine until you listen to my next video where I will explain how. Stay tuned. Extras. I found these after I wrote my blog post, so they are not sources, but they bolster my position. I love when I find other people who can expound on this with more scientific or religious insight than I can. Here is an article that explains in depth what just seems like common sense to me. It refutes the rabbi's common response in deciding medical questions to just go with the majority opinion. What do medical consensus and majority doctor's opinion mean? I'll put the link in the description. Here is a video I found of a Rabbi Yitzchak David Smith who explains one way to resist. I'll put the link in the description. Please share this with your rabbi and others, since this too will likely be censored. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.